All right, this is not spam. This is one of the best golf coaches in America, and coaches for Oklahoma State, Alan Bratton. And Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great,
Hello.
Robert. Thanks for
Oh,
having me on.
no, no. Thanks for coming on. And I wish we could have been out
Can
there.
you hear me?
Stephen had hit us up. Stephen had hit us up on this, having you and Coach Robertson together out there, and in kind of an informal setting, and that was really cool, and that was a great idea on his part. And I hope the attendance has been good. But then when I said, "Hey, have them call us," since we can't be there, I'm pretty excited he did that. Yeah, I'm not. I've got to ask this just because I know the competitor in you, and I know you've been out recruiting. You've been out with your golfers, some of the guys at some of the events they've played in since the NCAA tournament. Um, just from watching, I know probably the answer to this, but how long does it take, or do you ever get over what happened over in Arkansas? Because I mean, it may be the most one of the most dominant medal wins ever, and then you get into that match play, and man, all it takes is a couple of guys to maybe not be on top of their game, or the opposing team to be on top of theirs, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever really fully get over that. I mean, our goal was set at the start of the year, and we knocked off a lot of the goals that we had, and fell just short of leaving with the trophy that week. But what I told our guys is obviously that's a tournament. To leave with the trophy, you've got to finish in the top 8 in the stroke play, and then you've got to win 3 matches, and we didn't do that. We fell just short. I'm comforted by the fact that we performed well. Our guys played well that day. I mean, Matt Wolf made 6 birdies in 15 holes and got beat. Victor and Austin won their matches, and then it came down to a playoff with Zach, and he performed very well also, especially down the stretch. He was 1 down coming into 16, and kind of flipped the match on 16 and 17, and I kind of thought we had it taken care of. And kid from Texas, you got to give him credit for stepping up and doing something special on the last hole. And then Zach was unfortunate with a wicked lip out on the last hole. He hit the putt the way he wanted, and you don't see putts spin back and come at you like that, spin around the hole and come back at you like that very often. So I told the guys, we fell short of leading with the trophy, but nobody had to wonder who the best team was this year. That was Oklahoma State. And sometimes the best team doesn't win, but we didn't leave with the trophy, but we performed well, and we can hold our heads high for everything that we've done last season and the year before. So they certainly set the bar for the guys that we have coming in this year to, maintain that kind of excellence.
I know that not everybody ever always thinks this way, but I try to. College sports and college coaching, sure, it's about winning. Sure, it's about getting your student athletes to the very best they can be in their given skill, their given sport. But it also is still very much about helping people become, young people become successful adults, and successful in life, and successful in their personal life and their relationships. And as you look at what's starting out now with Victor on the Pro Tour, and with Matthew on the Pro Tour, um, these guys, everything you hear about them from everybody that covers the PGA is how great it is to see these guys come into it, not just because they're tremendous players, but for instance, I know with Victor, you never see him without a smile on his face. And also these guys carry themselves, and they stand for the right things. So how proud are you to see? I mean, it's kind of like, when players graduate and you see them step out into the real world, you got to be proud of the way these guys are starting their steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's certainly a goal. I mean, you talk about that from when you first start recruiting a kid, that you want to develop them as young men, have them earn their degrees, and be prepared to go out into the world, hopefully, of professional golf. And this weekend was kind of a great example across the board. all the way through from our program. We had a current kid on our team play very well in the European Amateur, finished eighth. One of the kids that we'll be relying on, a young player named Rasmus, near guard Peterson. He'll be a force on our team this year. He played well there. You have Victor doing what he's been doing. He and Matt out there making their way on the PJ Tour. And then you had on the newly named Corn Ferry Tour, which until last week was the Web.com Tour. You got Chris Ventura 1 year into his professional career, stepping up and winning. And right behind him, one stroke behind him, was Kevin Doherty, who finished in our program in 2014 and is likely, with that finish, he ended up finishing third, one shot out of the two-man playoff, will likely earn his PGA Tour card as well. So, hopefully Matt and Victor can get out there quickly, and then Chris Ventura and Kevin Doherty join them. So kind of all the way around, from a guy that is currently on our team to a kid that finished in 2014. It's just great to see them. Every one of those guys has got the Swingin' Pete on their golf bag as well, and to hear them talk about, Chris texted me about how the experience winning the national championship and playing match play here at Karsten Creek, and how dealing with that kind of pressure made the pressure he felt in the playoffs just no big deal. So those guys have carried the mantle for Oklahoma State out there into the world and Oklahoma State golf, and I couldn't be more proud of the young men they are and what they're doing for themselves and for our university out there in the world.
Yeah, as you look toward next year, because gosh, I mean, we're about 2 months away, or less than that, month and a half maybe, a little over that, away from school starting for the fall semester, and again, you mentioned a young man that playing on the European over in Europe that's going to be here, and you're going to depend on. You've also got a few pieces from last year's team. I mean, Austin Eckroat has been really good and continued to be very good in events over the summer. Talk a little bit about what's ahead, because with Matthew and Victor obviously leaving and all the awards and everything they've accomplished, that obviously there's a little bit of it's a pretty good changing of the guard, but changing of the guard in America's #1 collegiate golf program is almost a positive. It means new faces that are going to do great things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about the youth that we're going to have on our team, and it's going to start with our leadership at the top with Austin. He'll return as our best player, and what a good start to the summer he had. He finished 8th at the national championship. Right before that, he qualified for the U.S. Open. Just before that, he had a great finish at the regional as well. So he had a good regional, qualifies for the U.S. Open, plays very well at the national championship, won both matches, finished 8th, and he rolls right in to play his first major with Donnie Darr on the bag at Pebble Beach, and a good performance there. So his goals for the rest of the summer will be to try to make the Walker Cup team, and then he's going to be a fantastic leader for us. He's probably the toughest player that we have on our team. You can never tell how Austin is doing, with his demeanor on the golf course, and just plays with, he's certainly very talented, but plays with a lot of guts. And, that's going to be who everyone on our team is looking towards as a leader. And on top of that, he's been a Cowboy his whole life. His family, he's been coming to games and supporting OSU beyond just the golf program for years and years. So excited to see how he fills into that leadership role that he, actually even started last year, from being our 5th man as a freshman to last year he was number 3, right behind the number 1 and 2 amateurs in the world. So he'll be a great one for our new freshmen and our young guys on the team to look towards as we roll into this year. And we'll start the year, even though with new faces, we're going to have 3 guys on our team that are in the top 50 in the World Amateur Golf ranking. So, nobody has to feel sorry for us. Yeah, we've got some turnover in our lineup, but our young guys will be chomping at the bit to kind of make their mark. And with Austin as our leader, we should be in good shape.
Again, Alan Bratton with us. The Cowboys golf coach, we need to take 10 seconds for station identification for us. And then I want to come back and ask him about the new head coach for the women's program, who he knows very, very well. And Greg Robertson will do that. But right now, station ID.
KOSB, Perry Stillwater. KOKP, Perry Stillwater. KOKP, Blackwell, Ponca City. Is Triple Play Sports Radio, your home for sports talk with an orange flavor.
Again, back here on Triple Play Sports Radio, Alan Bratton, the head coach of Oklahoma State men's golf, with us, and they're out at Karsten Creek, informal gathering with members of the media that were invited out there, and of course Alan Bratton talking to everybody for I don't know the first time, but maybe the first time in an organized setting since the end of the season over in Arkansas, and then now the new head coach of Oklahoma State women's golf, Greg Robertson, joining him. Talk a little bit about that, because you know this guy very well. He's very accomplished, four-time, coach of the year at Kent State in the MAC Conference, Mid America Conference, and a former Oklahoma State golfer. Your thoughts on Greg joining the Cowboy Cowgirl coaching family?
Well, I think Coach Holder knocked one out of the park with the hiring of Greg. I mean, to be able to hire one of our own, change is never easy, but to bring someone in that fully understands and loves Oklahoma State University, the expectations, and all the advantages that are here with the golf programs. So I think he knocked one out of the park with Greg. His wife is from Stillwater. Greg spent, I think, 4 of his 5 years of college here, and that familiarity is kind of nice for me. I mean, anytime there's change, you always wonder how that's going to go. But he and I were teammates for 2 years at Oklahoma State. I was a part of recruiting him here, and then we've remained friends throughout his coaching career, which he coached for a number of years at Purdue, and then has just killed it at Kent State as the women's coach. So I'm excited for Donnie and I to be able to work alongside Greg and Maddie. I know his assistant coach that he's hired a little bit from my years coaching the women's team. She was playing at Kent State when I was coaching at Oklahoma State, and know her a little bit, and excited to get to know her better. And for me personally, I'm excited to have Greg back here, which obviously he knows Oklahoma State, but it's been a big benefit for me to coach alongside Donnie Darr, who's also coached at some other schools, and Greg has done the same. So to be able to hear ideas and learn from he and his staff that have coached and had success at other places is exciting. The job that he did there, especially the last 3 years at Kent with their success, if he can build on that and bring the same kind of things here to Oklahoma State, hopefully he'll be able to deliver our first national championship in a women's sport.
Yeah, and Alan, you brought this up with Donnie as well, and I certainly hope his fight, which we're all following, off the golf course against cancer, is going well. I love the fact he's been able to get out there and caddy, for some of the guys on the tour and some of the events. But I wanted to ask you this, because I've asked John Smith, I've asked Mike Gundy, I've asked Josh Holliday, but I don't think I've ever asked you this. And again, Coach Holder as well. So much of the Oklahoma State athletic department, and I'm not a believer that you have to have been at Oklahoma State to be a great coach at Oklahoma State, but boy, it sure helps. And we've seen that in with all those people I've mentioned, and you're included in that as well. Why do you think that is? I mean, we see it some at other schools, but I don't know that there's any school in the nation that depends on its own to come back and lead its programs and do it so well as Oklahoma State.
Well, hopefully I think that's just a credit to the environment here in Stillwater. I think lots of places coaches would like to go back and coach at their alma mater, but that may not be the pinnacle of their sport. We're fortunate with the success we've had across the board in athletics that Oklahoma State can be that dream job for some really good coaches to want to come back. And I think our coaching staff, you mentioned some of the best coaches on campus there that are alums. But our coaching staff across the board, it's exciting, and that family environment. I mean, what a great place to raise your kids around this university. And you just got to credit our administration, Coach Holder, and in years past to look around and see the success that our alums have had. So I think that's really just a credit to the culture and the environment around our entire university. That was one thing that I learned. I had a wonderful experience here at Oklahoma State as a golfer, and I knew I loved OSU golf. And but when I went out into the world and playing pro golf, and then went into the business world working, and came back, you start to realize how it was more than just the athletics that I loved. And that makes it fun for me to sell our university to kids. I don't feel like I'm having to sell anything. I'm just speaking the truth of the experiences that I've had here, and I can point to other coaches and athletes and just students, the experience they have here at Oklahoma State. It's different, it's special, and it's exciting to have so many alums, and the thought that they love it here and they're not going anywhere. And our athletic department, and thanks to Coach Holder and beyond, all of our boosters make it where you can do that. To be able to coach at your alma mater is special for sure, and I think it's very smart that we've been able to capitalize on that across the board.
Okay, Alan Bratton, again, coach of the Oklahoma State men's golf program, and obviously, one of the great college programs, not just in golf in college, but in all of college athletics, the Oklahoma State golf program. And I would add this, because you talked about the success across the board. And again, Oklahoma State's at a little bit of a disadvantage because it doesn't have quite as many sports as like when you go out to the West Coast and some of the Big Ten schools, and even in our conference, Texas has so many more sports. So it's a little disadvantaged, but Oklahoma State finished second among all schools in the Big 12. Congratulations to Texas. They have a lot of sports, and they finished fourth. But Oklahoma State was the second best program in all of the Big 12 in the Learfield IMG College Directors Cup standings, and they do it with less sports than what a lot of schools sponsor. So golf had a lot to do with that, and so Alan, that's always that right there kind of verifies what you were just saying there. So again, thanks and congratulations, and good recruiting, and we'll see golf when everybody gets started with the new school year here next month.
Well, yeah, thanks, Robert. It really is. It's a treat to come to work every day, and I'm always humbled when I get a chance when we get together as head coaches together to pick the brains of coaches like Kenny Gajewski and Chris Young, Josh Holliday, John Smith. You can go down the list, Mike Boyne, Mike Gundy. We've got great coaches and great athletes, and a great university to sell to recruit. So we sell the other programs as much as we do the golf. Just the caliber of people around here. It's exciting to go to work. So thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.